Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk, and it's here. It's here. It is draft day. I am so excited. Maddie and I are going to run through a mock draft for you, and Maddie's going to do some digital coin flip for us to see who
All
goes.
right. So, Jay, you pick heads or tails?
Always heads.
Always heads. Oh, right. Okay.
Is
Heads
that
it
heads?
is. You
All
get a
right,
pick.
Maddie, you get to go first.
I'm first. I'm
I did it
starting
on
off first.
purpose. I want the 12th pick. I ain't gonna lie. I want the 12th pick. So
That
yeah.
makes sense. I didn't even think that far down. All right. So, with the first pick of the 2022 NFL draft, despite all the noise coming out, because I think they're just trying to make Hutch fall to Detroit. Hutchinson taken by the Jacksonville Jaguars first overall.
I would take that pick also, but you already know that when we went through, I think that all the noise is true and it's going to be Trayvon Walker, but I definitely agree with you. And now, because I'm the one picking at number 2 for the Lions, and the guy I think they're going to take is going to be gone, I'm going to shock people. Ike Ekwonu, offensive tackle. Lions sure up that offensive line. You build from both lines, big men, big uglies, build it up, give that offense a chance, and you give Jared Goff a chance not to fucking die.
Oh God, my draft.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
I think that's
I
how they
mean,
go if they don't get Hutchinson.
even with Trayvon Walker on the boards, even
I
with
do because I don't think
okay,
they're going to go just for measurables.
yeah, they're not just going to go just edge and like they have so many needs that it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, offensive tackle. I mean, they're building up for when they can eventually get a decent quarterback when they're going to be picking around here the same time
And I'm
next
guessing
year as
that's who
well.
you had the Texans taken, right?
No. So number 3 overall for the Houston Texans, I take the actual best player available, Evan Neal, offensive tackle. I
Okay.
think Evan Neal is just he's just a specimen to behold. In the run game, he's just going to destroy people, and he's got good feet when it comes to the pass game as well. He's played at a ridiculously high level, and those guys that he's blocking against are all NFL guys, so he's NFL ready.
Okay. Well, at number 4, the Jets, I have them staying where we had them last time. Kayvon Thibodeau, I think they're in love with him. I think they like him, and I think
Mm-hmm.
he really fits their scheme. So I'm going to stay there with Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, Thibodeau, obviously a guy who um, could have been first overall in the NFL draft. I mean, pretty much could have looked like he was going to go first overall after the decline of Spencer Rattler. But for teams like Detroit, they're going to skip on him because he doesn't fit their ethos in terms of trying hard every play. And I'm not sure how much credence I give that not trying hard every play. I just think he needs to learn how to play every single down, like he needs to look into a scheme and just go for it rather than just freaking out. Or I'm not sure about that. He's not going to try hard in the NFL.
Before we go on, just quick, I think he gets a bad rap for being honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely. I just think he's possibly got the highest upside of any edge in this draft. And people are worried about him because he decided he wasn't going to play when he knew he was going to get drafted, like probably top, like at least top 10 in the NFL draft. And the dude's making loads of money on the side. How fucking dare he make money investing in NFTs? Like, how dare he?
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
how dare the rest of these people make money like the rest of us try to do? Because I always hear, don't take that much money. You're hurting the team. And my argument is, well, next time your boss gives you a raise, tell him, nah, for the good of company, just keep that.
Yeah, I mean, if he becomes so rich that if he invests in the right NFTs and stuff, and the dude becomes so fucking rich that all he just goes and says, "Well, I don't actually need your NFL money. Let's go win a Super Bowl because I just want to be a Hall of Famer. I will take $1 to do this because I love it." Then you'll be laughing out the other side of your ass. With the 5th pick falling to the New York Giants, right in their lap. Trayvon Walker, probably some crazy measurables right there. A lot of people have got him tipped to go number 1 overall. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't believe anything that has been said about the draft in the past 2 weeks. Like, I have to go off the stuff from 2 months, like a month ago, because I just think everybody's trying to get you to fall. So I don't think that the Jags are gonna take Trayvon Walker. I just don't think that, and I know Detroit definitely will do if he. I know Detroit will take Hutch as soon as that happens, but the Giants, look, they just taken the best player available. Their defensive line could do with becoming a lot cheaper and a lot younger, and Trayvon Walker's measurables are enough to do that for them.
All right, so we're not doing trades, but at number 6, I think there might be a trade if they can find 100%. A name partner for like Sauce or something like that. But I still think either way they take the same guy trading back or staying there. And I think they reach for Malik Willis right here, quarterback, Liberty, because they don't pick again until like the 3rd round. And were you going to ride with Sam Darnold again?
Yeah, I mean, I think they trade back from that spot as well, but it seems like such a reach to take a quarterback right there, and they're not. Malik Willis isn't ready to play this year. I personally don't think.
Neither is Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I know, but do you not still kind of end up rolling in with Sam Darnold anyway? Like,
but there's this like train of thought. If you believe he's your guy, you go get him. It doesn't matter what it costs, especially if they're a quarterback, right? I think if they can find a trade partner, they'll do it. I'm not sure anybody will trade up unless they're going for Sauce Gardner, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's who do you think might trade? It's who do you think might trade up there? I mean, Charles Cross is still available. The Chargers would never say no to another offensive lineman of that quality. And they don't really have a lot of holes. I mean, who else can trade up? Who else can put a decent package there? If the Packers really like one of these wide receivers,
I doubt they'll do it, but the Vikings need a corner, so they're a possibility from 6 to 12 to go get Sauce. But like, I don't think they'll do it. But if we're looking at teams with needs, with guys who are just sitting there, you know what I mean? I don't think the Packers would jump that high either, though, because it would cost so much.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel, is it a better year to trade up this year, though? Would you not get better value for trading up this year because nobody else wants to trade up? I don't think
they go on that pick chart, so you have to match what the picks are worth. Jimmy Johnson invented that thing.
Yeah. 30 years ago.
Over the years, but Jimmy Johnson invented it.
He was on Colin Cowherd talking about it, and he said it's crazy that people still use it 30 years later. Like, obviously they've moved it around and stuff, but he just did it because the Cowboys were making so many trades around that time because nobody else really did it. And the Cowboys were just making so many. He was like Jimmy Johnson just went, I've only ever reached for one player. And it was a bust. One they reached last, so he's never reaching again. So who have I got? I've got the Giants. Best cornerbacks are all still available. Third best offensive tackle, which is a position that they really need, still available. Let's take one defense and one offense for the New York Giants and take Charles Cross, offensive tackle. They're going to be quite happy with that pickup there, aren't they? I heard they got Walker and Cross. Walker and Cross. That works nicely for them, really, doesn't it? And I mean, they're going to be really happy with that. Give Daniel Jones the opportunity to be as good as he can be. Because if you find your quarterback, Daniel Jones is better than any of the quarterbacks coming out of this class. If he was the quarterback in this class this year, I genuinely think that if he was the quarterback,
I have zero faith in Danny Dimes, but we're kind of different on him. So I get where you're saying that, though, because I have the same argument with Baker. Baker is better than every quarterback coming out, so I get where you're coming 100%.
From. Baker is better than every quarterback coming out as well. So I just think Daniel Jones is better. He knows the system. He knows the system better. They should have started building the system around him in theory, but it's the Giants, so you never know. So I've taken Cross for the Giants there.
Okay, well, at number 8 goes against my big board, but I think you'll appreciate it. And I think a lot of teams think differently than me. So because the tackle that I think the Falcons wanted is gone, I think they go and grab wide receiver Ohio State Garrett Wilson because they have no receivers left. You know what I mean? Julio's gone, Ridley suspended. You got to get some other weapons over there. And I know you're playing as a rebuild with Mariota and stuff, but like you got to give him somebody to throw to. And Kyle Pitts will be triple covered if you don't get somebody else in there.
Yeah, 100%. And you know me, I'm a weapons guy. Like, just get as many weapons and just throw them at the field as you can. And Kyle Pitts is a freak. If you double cover Kyle Pitts, he is not double covered because he's already 2 times bigger than most of the guys who are going to be covering him anyway. So
a good comparison. He's young, Darren Waller.
Yeah, you just need somebody to take the pressure off him, and taking Garrett Wilson in that spot's good. I mean, personally, I think Jameson Williams is the best wide receiver on the board, but the issue is he can't play straight away.
But I keep hearing that people are in love with these Ohio State receivers. So with this, I went with the position, but I went with the player I think the team will go with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not overly keen on the
I don't even have him in my top 5 wide receivers. But I think this is the other teams think differently.
Yeah, definitely. And he does have wild production, and when you have wild production, that does have to speak for something. And another guy who has wild production, or more importantly, stops wild production, that's going to be going to the Seattle Seahawks, and a steal at this point in the draft, as far as I'm concerned, Ahmed Sauce Gardner. Never let a touchdown go in his entire career. The Seattle need to get back to the Legion of Boom. They just need to take the best player available, and it's Sauce Gardner.
And the funny thing is, I seen mocks this morning that have Sauce falling to 12 and Stingley going above him. So I don't think it'll happen. I think that's crazy talk, and I think that's right before the draft crazy talk.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about who is the best talent, but ready right now, not that far off from any other guy on the top 3. Sauce is the man coming out right now who is ready to plug and play.
Yeah, and I genuinely think that Sauce might be better than Stingley. Just like he's playing against NFL wide receivers like a decent amount of the time, and Stingley obviously did drills against Jamar Chase the whole time, locked him down. Incredible, like won a national championship. But we haven't seen loads of play since his first year, and I just think Sauce, like, not letting a touchdown go in all of college is just insanity, and it's brilliant. And I think he's the perfect guy for the Seahawks. If you're a more solid team at that position, you pick Stingley. If you need somebody to go right now, you pick Sauce. But I think Sauce is just as talented as Stingley.
So I think the top 3 guys, it's a dealer's choice. We've talked about that. The only thing is there's different size or like longer arms, that kind of thing, whatever you like. With the Jets at number 10, this is all predicated on nothing happening with Debo, because we don't know where their first round pick's going to be if they trade for Debo. So in this assumption, they do not trade for Debo. They still have their number 10, and they take wide receiver Alabama, Jameis Williamson.
Ooh.
Or Jameis Williams, sorry.
Oh, man. I was thinking about taking him next. Oh, that's what makes it so
hard. Up on my big board for a pick. The big board, first match.
Yeah, that's what makes it so hard. Yeah, I mean, great pick up there. I totally get it. They're trying to rearm, aren't they? The Jets, really. They're trying to re-weapon.
Maddie, I pray the draft falls this way, because the 2 guys I want are still fucking sitting there.
I know that's why you're doing it. I might just take them just to.
No, it's not why I'm doing it, because I would have put Sauce as a corner before I anything else. But yeah, this is weird because I love Johnson and I love Stingley, and they're both sitting there. So, and I love Hamilton. All 3 are still sitting there.
All 3 are still there.
So the commies, I mean Commanders, where are you going?
They need weapons. Like I know Ron Rivera is there to. Ron Rivera's defensive outlook on football is dying down a little bit, and you're going to have a very successful team if you make it defensive and if you really. So with Ron Rivera being there, I genuinely think they could take one of the D linemen from Georgia, or they could take one of the cornerbacks off the board. But what they really, really, really need is a weapon. And if they keep Terry McLaurin, then they need a different type of weapon to Terry McLaurin. And that different type of weapon is Drake London.
I was looking down my board and I was like, where is he going? And I thought he's got to be going Drake London.
Okay. Drake London is a little bit of a reach, but not too far. Not enough of a reach. And with these wide receivers, so after Garrett Wilson and Jameis Williamson are off the board, then you can start to pick the guys just for who suits you the best. And as I said, in the last time we did this, Drake London makes 50-50 balls, 60-40 balls, and Carson Wentz makes 50-50 balls, makes 50-50 balls. That's his main throw, is a 50-50 ball up in the air and see what happens. So Drake London making that a 60-40 is going to make a big difference for them. And if he's only single covered a lot of the time because double coverage is on Terry McLaurin, you can expect some pretty decent numbers out of Drake London.
Well, at number 12, before I make my pick, Vikings fans, this might be a shocker to you, but I live in Skull Nation and I do a lot of reading. And there's a lot of people in that organization or around it that believe that they are going to go Chris Olave. I do not, but just throwing that out there because of the way that the Rams ran their offense is weapons, weapons. I got them staying put, running the card up for LSU corner Derek Stingley. If this happens, you will see one happy Vikings fan. But the way this draft fell, there's 3 dudes right here that I would be really happy with. So I love the way the draft is falling. I hope we're pretty spot on here, Maddie.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect for you. And I mean, Derek Stingley, if he pans out, is a lockdown wide cornerback, Jalen Ramsey type of guy. Stick him on an island and just go. And with the Vikings cornerback room, it's improved a little. Like they've brought back Patrick Peterson.
They brought in Chandler from the Packers.
Yeah, yeah. But you need a guy, like you need a dog, and you just don't have that dog. And Derek Stingley,
the only thing they did to help, what they did to help their secondary this year was get pass rushers, which does help, but you still got to be able to cover.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the Houston Texans. I put both for the Houston Texans here. They take Neal in at the start, and I think they'll be very happy with that. So they shore up their offensive line. So I'm going to have them picking, and this is a surprise because there's a certain safety that's still on the board, but I'm going to have them going for the other line now and attacking the trenches and taking Jordan Davis, defensive lineman from from Georgia, defensive lineman from Georgia. And this guy is just a fuck up the play kind of guy. And when you're as bad as the Texans, if you have a fuck up the play kind of guy, that's going to help you out no matter what. It's going to help you out no matter what.
He is better than people give him credit for. They're like, oh, he comes off the field and passing downs. And like, bro, he's at Alabama. He's at Georgia. Do you know how many fucking pass rushers they have? This play, don't be fooled by the scheme. He ran, he disrupts. He gets in the backfield. I am not saying he will be a Hall of Famer, but he is a Warren Sapp type player.
Mm-hmm. And it's the speed of the college game is so much faster than the speed of the NFL game. So your fat guys can stay on for a lot longer. But Jordan Davis, he isn't fat anyway. He's just all muscle and he just barrels across people and he can plug the run so people won't be able to run on the Texans, and he can fuck up your pass plays no matter what. So they've sorted out an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman in this draft, and I think that's a really good spot for them to be at.
No, I agree, because before the Vikings signed Harrison Phillips to be our nose tackle, I thought this might be the draft pick for the Vikings. I love it. I think he's going to be
I
a great
love him.
addition, and the Texans are just getting better.
I love them both. I think they're brilliant. Him and Wyatt.
So with the Ravens at number 14, taking before there's a drop off, taking the last offensive tackle and Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa, because you're going to protect your franchise quarterback who doesn't seem to want to talk to you about a new contract. Which is really
and Trevor Penning, a fantastic run blocker as well. Like he's amazing blocking the run, and that's just that's their bread and butter. And him going to
the Ravens.
The Ravens is only going to make him better. Like there's no way it can.
And that's what they do. They run the fucking ball. You know what exactly. I mean? So,
exactly. He's the perfect guy for them. The absolute perfect guy. And the Eagles are sitting here pretty pissed right now. Their wide receivers are off the board. They want James Williamson. That's who they want. That's the guy that they need, and that's the guy that they want. That Alabama connection. That's the fuckers that they should be going for, but he's not there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles put both of their picks together to try and trade up, because there'll be a lot of people trying to trade down, and I genuinely think they could try and trade up to just get the best wide receiver available.
12's open.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, there's so many guys. You can get all the way up to 6. You can take the Panthers.
The way we're thinking, if they want to trade forward, could still maybe get Stingley, maybe get Hamilton, maybe get Johnson if the Vikings trade back. Yeah, we'll take that. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And with the way that the draft has fallen for the poor Eagles, in a very similar way to how the draft fell for the Dallas Cowboys last year, they might actually get the best player out of this draft, the best defensive player out of this draft. But just because of the way that other people have picked, he's fallen. And that is Kyle Hamilton, safety, going to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think he's a stud. And personally, this is just me. I think Jeremiah Johnson has the biggest upside, but I do not have a problem with Hamilton at all. I think he's a great safety.
I just think if he falls to that pick, you have to take him. That's where needs and value start to cross over. And
I was
thinking Jermaine Johnson, but like try and make that edge a lot younger, a lot cheaper. Like they are starting to run out a little bit on the edge, but Kyle Hamilton's just such a stud that you've got to take him there. He's possibly the Micah Parsons guy of this draft.
If I'm the Saints, I'm pulling my fucking hair out right now because I don't know what to do, because Johnson's still sitting there, but they need offensive weapons too. And so I just bite the bullet. I stick with, even though he's not on my big board, I go higher on my big board. I stick with need and go Chris Olave, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Johnson's better on the big board, but I'm looking at offense over defense for the Saints.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. I mean, Chris Olave, it's just a good pick for them. It's their kind of wide receiver as well. That's the thing, isn't it? It's their kind of wide receiver, that weird gadget guy. I'm surprised you didn't go for Burks there a little.
Now, I think at some point they're going to push on from Alvin Kamara, and I don't necessarily mean this year, but I think Olave can pick up a lot of that, like you said, trick play, different things that he does.
Yeah, definitely. So for the LA Chargers, my sweetheart team.
Hey, this might line up with my big board.
Yeah, they're in a bit of a tricky spot here, because they always could do with rebuilding their O-line. Like that's what they can always do with. Who's still on the board? Imagine if they had Khalil Mack and Bosa and Jermaine Johnson in that division. But who I'm going to take for them? Defensive interior lineman, Devontae White. And I just think they still haven't been able to defend the run. they still haven't quite got how to defend the run. And if you just put that big guy in the middle there, then he's blocking those lanes. And just like his counterpart Davis, he's also a fuck up the play kind of guy.
Maddie, I forgot to write this down. Who did we have the Eagles taking at 15?
Oh fuck. Have we missed the Eagles?
No.
Oh yeah. No. Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, because I've been marking little initials and I forgot to do it.
Kyle Hamilton's off the board
at 18. Even though I'd love to see this be the Vikings pick now that you said trading too. I mean, they have to get more weapons. Big board matches up. I know Johnson's still lingering, and he was 11 on my big board, but I think they need to put weapons around their young quarterback. Treylon Burke, wide receiver, Arkansas.
Yeah, like it. Love that pick. That's
whoever that kind of Wisconsin is going to get a steal if this happens, because I got him as the 11th best player in the draft, and we're already at 18.
Yeah, and that's really their kind of, that's really their guy though, isn't it? Like that's the Eagles kind of guy here, where it's they need a weapon, and that dude's a fucking mental kind of weapon. And he's not my favorite choice of wide receiver that's here, but God, he's just like, he just does things that other wide receivers can't do. That Deebo Samuel's style of play. He's not, I'm not saying he's Deebo Samuel's coming out, but like adding him to the Eagles and the way that they run their offense is never going to hurt.
For sure.
Oh. Yeah. So for me, I've got the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. They need weapons, but they're all gone. And biting
the hands off. I just had him take a receiver, so
yeah, biting the hands off Roger Goodell. Absolutely chomping at the bit to hand this card in. Jermaine Johnson II going to the Saints.
I was thinking that too. Like, did the Saints just steal with those two picks, Olave, then Johnson? They just made both sides of the ball better. I like it, because I almost gave them Johnson at their last pick. So for him to fall to their next pick, that would be perfect for them.
That is an absolutely wicked draft for them. If this happens, by the way, everybody, we know that this won't happen. We're very aware that nobody knows what's going on the draft day.
That's
just
why ESPN offers $1 billion if you can nail the first round of the mock.
And it's just, nobody knows what's going on, and it's just a bit of fun, and I love doing them, and it gives us better insight into the actual players. That's the bit that you should be listening to, the actual insight, not where they're going or that kind of stuff.
Well, the Steelers at number 20 happily walk up the hometown kid, Kenny Pickett, quarterback, at 20 for the Steelers.
Yeah, I like that. Is he better than Mitch Trubisky? How much better is he than Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah, but it's not what I think, because you know what, I don't hate him, but I'm not in love with Kenny Pickett. I think he's a career backup probably. Yeah. But I think the Steelers are sold because I think they like how he fits their offense and what they want to do.
Yeah, with Kenny Pickett, you worry that you get into a Jared Goff kind of situation where you've plugged him into such a brilliant team with such a genius coach that you end up having to pay him, and then all of a sudden you're like, actually, like, you are not a first-round guy. You are not the guy, and you're just stuck with him. You're stuck with him because these first-round quarterbacks, you have to pay them early as well. Otherwise, they cost you so much more. Yeah, I could see it happening, and I think the Steelers will be happy about it. Kenny Pickett will be thinking he's absolutely dreaming if that happens. And for the New England Patriots, falling such a long way. I've just realized how far he's fallen. Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, my pick too. And I'll tell you, they let the best corner in football go this last year. And I know people killed me last year saying J.C. Jackson was the best corner in football. People are finally coming around. They replace him with a plug-and-play guy who, if he was not 5'10 and a half, I know they're saying he's 5'11, but that's reaching. If he was not 5'10 and a half, he would have went higher already.
Yeah, 100%. And That's the most Patriots pick you can get as well, by the way. That Patriots pick is perfect for them. They're ridiculously happy about that.
All right. Well, Cardinals sitting on the board, wondering what the hell went wrong last year with the collapse of the team. And they're like, oh, wait, Kyler Murray got hurt. Let me go to Boston College and get him an offensive lineman named Zion Johnson.
Perfect. That's great for them. The best offensive guards.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I jumped. That was your pick. It's the Packers at 22.
Oh, yeah, you're the Packers. You're the Packers at 22. Do you want to do the Packers?
Wide receiver. Sorry,
say that again?
Dotson, wide receiver.
Penn State. Dotson, definitely. Taking Dotson off the board there, the Packers.
I like that. Since I did the Cardinals, too.
I'm taking
the Cowboys. Jump to the Cowboys.
Yeah, that works. You did that on purpose, right?
I'm
taking
professional of me.
Yeah, I'm taking Zion Johnson for the Cardinals. Definitely, 100%. Offensive tackle, and the Packers just need to add a weapon. Whoever they've got the best wide receiver on the board, just take him, because that's who you're going to end up taking, and it's who you have to take. It's not my best wide receiver that's left on the board.
Me either, but I think it's what they like.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got the Dallas Cowboys with my favorite. I think he might be my favorite guy to take right here on the board. Like, honestly, my favorite guy. He reminds me of Travis Frederick so much, and it's Tyler Linbarn. Tyler Linbarn, center and guard. Perfect guy to take. I'll be so happy if we walk away from the draft with Tyler Linbarn tomorrow night.
That was some Freudian shit. I just skipped the Packers. Like, you don't even get a pick, dude. Like, forget you. Okay.
Maybe they've given it up for Deebo Samuel. Maybe that's what you're thinking.
Right. They ain't trade. Nobody's giving the Packers Deebo Samuel. But
nobody's that dumb.
25 with the Bills, the only team who should even be looking in this direction in the first round. They're going to take running back Bryce Hall. They're going to fix that freaking running game because it's atrocious. And if you remember, this is pretty close to when Najee Harris went last year.
Yeah, and it's actually like we're moving away from taking running backs in the first round of the draft because of value. But if you're the Bills and you're full everywhere else, then why are you taking a backup? Like, why are you taking a backup when you can get a first team player in there? Like, and yeah, he's the best running back on the ball. Easy pick, definitely. All right. Oh God, there's so many good players still left on this board. So many. The Titans. Who am I going to take with the Titans? They could do with another weapon. And there's a very quick wide receiver that I like out of Cincinnati still on the board. But the best players on the board, and the person who Devin Lloyd, linebacker. And I just think at that point, you've just got an absolute steal, really, haven't you? Like, Devin Lloyd has the attributes of a Micah Parsons. Like, he's not Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a once in a generation kind of guy. He's not going to make the same kind of impact that Micah Parsons did. But if you see the same attributes in someone, that quickness, that leadership, that dog in him, then you take him straight away at that point in the draft.
Yeah, and linebacker for some reason is going the way of running back. It is being very devalued. But this happened to safeties a few years ago. There's this weird trend through the NFL where positions get devalued. I think he's the best linebacker in there. He was the highest person still left at my board. He was 18 on my big board of best players available. So I think that's a freaking steal when you can pull a guy that's the 18th best 100%. Player at 26.
100%. Yeah. Great player that they can take there. Okay, on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
A guy I absolutely love. And if he fell to the late first round or top of the second, I would want the Vikings to trade up for him. But the Bucs are going to have the best young safety tandem in the league. Dak Hill goes over to play their Michigan safety.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Great pick. Great pick. I didn't even think about that. But that just turns the Bucks into a completely different animal. Nobody wants to throw over the top against those two. Absolutely not. Why would you even attempt it? Why would you even attempt it? With those two ready to absolutely smack you in the mouth in the backfield.
Let's not
So
skip them a second time.
So with the Green Bay Packers, I think they could do with two. Like they could genuinely do with two wide receivers. But nobody would ever do that. And I don't think that's what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to take, give them even more pass rush and take George Karlaftis, the Greek freak, on the edge. A steal again. The fact that in our draft quarterbacks went early, which is very possible to happen, has really helped out these teams at the end of the draft here. Really, really helped them out. And Karlaftis is just a solid worker, a bit of a freak of nature, and you're always just going to get good hard work from him, and that's the kind of guy that the Packers need to just shore up that defensive line even more.
So that's who I had going next to the Chiefs, so they're mad at you right now. Back-to-back picks for the Chiefs, so I guess any order could go, but I am going to say they shore up their offensive line. Kenyon Green, Texas A&M.
I like it. I love that pick a lot. I have Bernard Rainman. Could have gone to show up their offensive line as well. Inside O lineman. So we've shored up their offensive line. Let's just kick that secondary into overdrive with the division that they're in as well. Let's give them Andrew Booth Jr.
Okay.
Falling deep for as far as I'm concerned. I think Andrew Booth Jr. is one of those guys. He'll be upset. So in my original draft, I had him going to the New England Patriots, and I think he'll be upset that he's not at the New England Patriots right now, because I think they're the kind of team that could really, really work with him really well. But that being said, who wouldn't want to go and play for the Kansas City Chiefs? And he just improves any cornerback room just by his size and his hips and his quick feet, and he puts his hands in weird places, but he also has mad ball skills, ridiculous ball skills, Trayvon Diggs style. And if you've got the Kansas City Chiefs offense, you want turnovers because that's how you're going to just blow teams away. I think he works really well there. I actually like that pick a lot more than I thought it was.
So the Bengals right now are debating, and they're leaning towards Kyle Gordon, and then they say, can't do it, got to protect my guy Joe Burrow. Tyler Smith, offensive tackle. Let's get more people on that offensive line.
Yeah, I think they've done so much work to shore up that offensive line, though.
And I still think it's not good.
It still needs more.
Yeah, that's just me personally. But you're right. But the Vikings have been working on that offensive line for 4 years, and it's like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's just they could also take Kia Elam to ward off what happened with Eli Apple. They could take Kia Elam, but I don't think Eli Apple's as bad as all that. I think he just had one terrible play in the Super Bowl. So I don't think their secondary is too much to worry about. And there's still loads of great corners that are left. So I don't have any problem with that offensive line pick. Again, Bernard Rainman. I think I just rate this guy really highly. I just think he's a real, he's a real player. And for the Lions, and I think they'll be dead happy with this pick with the way that the draft has gone. I have them taken. And this leaves a lot of weapons, and it leaves Nakobe Dean falling out of the first round.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon, a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. Matt Corral, quarterback. And he's the best guy in the draft. I still stand by him being the best quarterback in the draft, and they can pick him up at 32, get him on a 5-year deal. I was listening to a PFF where it's like, oh, that 5-year deal doesn't really mean as much anymore, but it's better than not having it, I think. And Matt Corral works out perfectly for them because if he's shit, then you've still got Jared Goff for a year. And also, Jared Goff is not the future. You're not going to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. I mean, I know the Rams did it, but you're not the Rams. So there's no harm in taking this guy.
I mean, he's not there anymore, but you mispronounced Malik Willis when you said the best player.
Oh God,
like he's a good fit. I still think that the Lions should trade a late round pick for Baker and pick up more weapons, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I would take, or even if you're going to take a quarterback with the 32nd pick, then why not just say to the Browns, here's the. They wouldn't need to do that. They wouldn't need to do that.
No, you could get up a fourth or a fifth. Right now, the Browns just want you to eat the $18 million. That's it.
Yeah, you get even less, and they have a decent amount of cap space. I mean, the only problem is with that is Jared Goff's getting paid loads and Baker's getting paid loads.
So it's 1 year though, and you're a rebuilding team. You just eat that.
Exactly.
Let Jared Goff be the most expensive backup in the league. You know what I mean? And then next year you got a ton of cap room because he's gone.
And then you could take a player like Alex Pierce. You can have a player.
Put Kyle Gordon on the other side of that defense, and you got 2 lockdown corners. Yeah, there's a lot of shit you could do.
Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean. Really, I love linebackers. I just want to end this draft by saying how much I love linebackers and think more should be taken.
Look at how many linebackers are still out in free agency, though, like Anthony Barr and different dudes who can play. They're not going to get picked up till after the draft, and they're going to come in a lot cheaper than people thought. You're going to have great linebackers from the draft and pretty good linebackers in free agency. And like you said, I don't know why people devalue them because they're the middle. They're your middle linebacker is your quarterback of the defense. He is calling all the plays. Your outside linebackers need to be able to like rush the passer, cover the run. Your middle linebacker needs to be able to tackle and blitz. And they need to be able to cover too. So they're like a hybrid lineman and safety almost together, right? But they're devalued. They do so much.
Yeah, and I just think what's happening is people have gone, well, why don't we just play safeties at linebacker then? Why don't we just take big safeties and stick them at linebacker?
In the run game.
Exactly. But like, it's strange. And I love him. And Micah Parsons was the best pick out of the entire draft last year. And
I hate that he's even just called a linebacker, though.
Yeah.
Because I think he's just a defensive weapon who should be rushing the passer 80 to 90% of the time.
Yeah. So who out of this draft that we've just taken do you think has got the best deal?
There was a lot of people who fell. But I think Jermaine Johnson going that late is the steal of the draft.
Jermaine Johnson to the Saints, wasn't it? Yeah, Jermaine Johnson to the Saints going that late.
They got Chris Olave and Jermaine Johnson in our draft. I think they fucking scored.
Yeah.
And the fact that Sauce Gardner fell that far too, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Giants got Walker and Sauce. That's pretty. No, Walker and Cross. And Cross is a pretty nice tandem there for them. Yeah, the Giants are in a great place in this draft, and the Texans as well. The Texans are in a good place to get better really quickly.
Every team with 2 picks did pretty well, and I would say out of all of them, and this just isn't just shitting on them because they're in my division, but all the teams with the double picks, I think the Packers did the worst, and they still did well.
Yeah, and I think the Packers are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with where they draft because we know what they need. Everybody knows what they need, and it's a wide receiver.
You can get up in front of them too. Yeah,
but the drop off for wide receiver is quite high. That's the thing with this draft. Everybody's saying, "Oh, it's a shit draft. It's a rubbish draft." No, it doesn't have that level of top end talent. You're not getting that ridiculous amount of top end talent at the 28th pick. You're not getting that ridiculous amount. The fall off is quite high. The top players always going to be good whenever they come out of the draft. There's always going to be those top players. But if you see how deep this thing runs, when you go in and you really watch the film, Alex Pierce has fallen off there, and I love him.
I would not draft a wide receiver in the first round unless you absolutely have to this year, but it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And if you're the Packers, you stick those two together and you say to Atlanta, here's 2 picks to make your team actually better, do you want him? Well, Atlanta need the wide receiver as well.
If you're going to give up 2 picks, you might as well just call up the Panthers and go, hey, you want to drop back? You'll still get a quarterback. You'll still get what you want. Maybe not the quarterback Willis, but you'll still get a quarterback back there and let us move up. But that's a lot of fucking. If I'm the Packers, I stay and I pick 2 players because I just need I need weapons on my team.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Are you called? You need multiple weapons. That's the thing, isn't it? You need.
Yeah, because that's why I won't give up 2 is because I lost a lot on my defense and I lost a lot on my wide receivers. You got to replace a corner. You got to replace an edge rusher. You got to replace your whole fucking wide receiving core almost. Like, so they're in a bad spot where I think they need more than the picks they have. So
yeah, it's weird. The Packers are in a really weird spot where you
but
look at
there
their
is a
roster
lot
and you
of
think,
free agent wide receivers still out there,
Yeah.
as in Julio, Landry. You know what I
Odell.
mean? So
yeah, Odell, if he's like when he gets fit again, the Josh Gordon.
I know they keep calling Odell a free agent, but I think he's just a ram in waiting.
Yeah, he's a ram, but said I'll eat you don't have to pay me the money this year, so that's fine.
Right.
100%. 100%. They've got him a nice house somewhere in LA that he's not paying for. Like, they're paying for that, and he's gone, right, okay, this will do while I rehab. As long as I can rehab here as well.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. But it's because of free agency, it makes this draft an absolute minefield, and you don't actually know what's going to happen at all. And even at the top, the noise coming out is that, like, last year, how many people realistically were saying that the Jags were gonna take Zach Wilson? There was plenty of people that were saying Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Lawrence.
Right. That was me. Zach Wilson's better than Trevor Lawrence, but they're still taking Trevor Lawrence.
There was plenty of people like that. Chris Sims, like, was saying that kind of stuff. Like, lots and lots of people were saying that kind of thing. But nobody actually went, yeah, they're gonna take him. Whereas here, the consensus seems to be that Hutchinson is the best player right now. Like, Hutchinson is the best defensive lineman in this draft. Right. He just doesn't have those freaky tangibles that people like. If you're working with what you got, then why the fuck does it matter? Like, that's anyway.
They're looking for that upside, though. You know, that next Hall of Famer. That, like, I get it. That's the question, though. So there's 2 different ways to look at being in a top 10 pick, right? Mm. There's the let's draft the guy who could be a Hall of Famer. I hate that idea, but I get it. My theory on a top 10 pick is you pick a guy who's going to be a starter for 10 years.
Yeah, and let's be real. If you're picking in the top 10, you're shit, right? Yeah. If you're picking in the top 10, you're in the bottom third of the NFL, unless there's been trades that happened, like a la 49ers getting up there and that kind of thing. Like, but if you're legitimately picking in the top 10, you're in the bottom third of the teams in the NFL. So what you need is somebody who can actually play football. Like, you can't just go, oh yeah, let's swing on him. Maybe he'll be good in 2 years. No, you need somebody that's good now. Like, it's insane.
Well, we've said this before. You need B's and C's to fill out your roster and play for 10 years. You need A's to get you over the hump. Let's worry about getting a guy in here that we know his floor is a B, his ceiling is an A, and that we got a starter for 10 years. That's why I like really good offensive linemen in the top 10. Because if you get a plug and play offensive lineman, you're like, okay, I don't have to worry about that position.
Don't have to worry about
12 years.
It's perfect. I understand it with edge a little more. Because it's a rotational position. If the guy doesn't pan out the way you want him to, you can still get cover from all over the place to kind of sort that out. And, like, chances are a freak of nature at edge is always going to do all right. He's going to cause some sort of problem. But when you've got a guy who's as solid as Hutchinson, and I think he's being tanked just for the purposes of he's not got that crazy upside, but he doesn't have the crazy upside because he's pretty much there already. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, when people say, oh, they don't have that crazy upside, it's like, yeah, but will they be an A at the NFL level already? That's what we need to know. Like, Micah Parsons, how much better can Micah Parsons get? I actually don't answer that.
I did read that the majority NFL players who are in the NFL right now are 3rd and 4th round picks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You gotta believe that. And it's because people draft on the combine too much. People draft on like those
Underwear Olympics.
intangibles. I don't give a shit. Like, it's cool. Like, I want to see your production first, and then if you have a similar production, then I'll be like, yeah. Plus, this dude's a fucking freak.
That's it. I need production to meet the combine. Like I don't care what the combine is alone. Like it's been called many times the underwear Olympics, right? I want your production on the field to meet up with the combine. So like when I'm watching corners, the only thing I care about at the combine is what's your 40 time, because I want to see, because if you play fast on the field, I want to see how fast you are, right?
Yeah.
But your tape means more, and I want to see your hips in the drills. Other than that, for a corner, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and do you know what they need to start doing with those 40s? Running in pads. They need to run a 40 out of pads, and they need to run a 40 in pads. Because people carry pads better than other people. Like nobody's running a 4-2 in pads. Like nobody's running a 4-3 in pads.
Maybe
like,
Tyreek, but yes, I'm with you.
I don't know whether he runs it in pads.
Well, in college he was Olympic fast.
Oh no, I'm not saying that he's not ridiculously quick. He's still the quickest wide receiver going. It's just there are some people who hold pads better, where the pads aren't much of a barrier to them, and then there's other people who pads are a massive barrier to them. And also the vision aspect of wearing a helmet when you're a corner, that vision aspect of wearing a helmet, or if you're a QB, that vision aspect of wearing a helmet, it's gotta have some effect, surely.
You're too young to remember this, but David Bowe was a pick for the Kansas City Chiefs first round receiver. He's on Hard Knocks. This is when Tony Gonzalez is still with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Bo's out there catching passes without a helmet on. Fucking Gonzalez comes up to him. He's like, hey, Rook, you might just want to put your helmet on when you're practicing. Dude caught attitude with Gonzalez, right?
Wow.
And Gonzalez just goes, yeah, you're right. What the fuck do I know? And just walked away. This dude's a Hall of Famer, and you're going to argue with him when he was just trying to help you become a better player. I agree with you. You shouldn't be catching passes without a helmet on.
Yeah, you shouldn't. And it honestly, like, genuinely, I think it's ridiculous that they don't do the combine fully padded up, unless somebody's brave enough to actually play the game not without pads. Then
I will say, Johnny Manziel looked a little weird in his pro day, throwing with all of his pads on, but it was more realistic than what other guys do. But it's still just throwing, Johnny. It's like there's no D out there, but I get it.
Yeah.
He was trying to do something different, stand out, but yeah.
It makes so much more sense to make them do it all in pads. Are their workouts, are their team workouts, they must have to do it in pads. Like, because the combine is for us, really, isn't it? It's not the teams use the combine a little bit, but they already know.
Well, the teams use the combine to
trade players.
Trade players. Yes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. There's more trading goes on that and actually wearing the underwear Olympics. But yeah, this draft's gonna be a good night tonight.
7 hours. 7 hours.
Woo! It's gonna be, honestly, it's gonna be a good draft tonight. It's gonna be interesting. I think this has a potential to be a more interesting draft than the last draft, even though the draft class last year was more fun to predict because you didn't know where the quarterbacks were going, you didn't know what the 49ers were doing and that kind of stuff. But this one, because the players from about 15 to 50 on the big board are very similar in talent level, that
I think we're going to see a lot of movement, but I don't think it starts until after the top 10.
Yeah, I think it's just people wanting to drop back. I think everybody wants to drop back.
Well, no, but I mean, even guys moving up. I think once people start top 10 picks start to fall out of the top 10, especially if something like I said crazy happens and Willis goes at 6, and that's another guy who's going to drop out. Then I think you start seeing teams going, oh, we want Hamilton, and he, you know what I mean? We got him.
Hamilton's a guy that I could see people moving up for.
Or we want Stingley at 11 because we know the Vikings are going to take him. So can we get up? I'm just saying things like that could happen, right? Like people might jump in front of the Saints because they know that the Packers could try to get in front of the Saints because of the receiver. I think we're going to see a lot of movement in somewhere from 10 to 20 to 32, because I could see somebody calling up the Lions and being like, what do you want for that last overall pick to get back up and get somebody they couldn't believe fell to the bottom of the first round?
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to
One
be
of those
crazy.
linebackers, I think the teams value linebackers more than the fans, but I think they've all got like an agreement with each other that they just kind of fall. Like, I think a lot of where you take people in the draft is to appease fans a little bit. Like, the teams know their best players are coming out of the second and third.
This could be conspiracy theory guy, and I'm not really that, but or could it be that teams are getting together and going, linebackers are getting paid way too fucking much a few years ago. We got to stop drafting them so high so they look devalued. Running backs making way too fucking much.
Mhm.
Let's make them look devalued so we can drop the market on the, running back or the line. Because if that's the case, you're going to see it coming up with receivers in the next few years. So we'll have to keep our eye open, because what they're getting paid, if they can drive down that market by not drafting them as high, maybe that's something that happens at owners' meetings and shit. I don't know,
Yeah, and that's the kind of reasons why I respect people like why I expect, I've got a sneeze coming on, it's just not coming. Why I respect people like Chris Sims a lot more in terms of drafting, because he just does his scout reports and it's what he thinks is best. He doesn't pay attention to, like, he'll message people in the organizations and they'll just come back and just go, they'll go back like, yeah, don't fucking tell anybody, because otherwise like Quay Walker, like Chris Sims loves Quay Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. He thinks he's better than Nakobe Dean, and he apparently emailed a few people around the league, and they were just like, "Yeah, do not fucking tell anybody because we want him." Like,
yeah, I like Sims. I like Jeremiah.
Jeremiah's good,
and I like Peter Schrager. I think those three, because they come from different places. Like Jeremiah's coming from being a scout. Sims is a player, but he doesn't care about the outside noise. He just gives you who he thinks, right? Mm-hmm. And he grew up in football with his dad. This kid knows more football than I'll ever. He's forgot more football than I'll ever know. And then I like Jeremiah because, I like Schrags, because Schrags, he's on the phone. He's talking to people. So his board is more of what he's hearing from execs. But like Schrags said something last week that he said, when a coach speaks this time of year, listen. He said when an exec speaks, he goes, throw that right out the window.
Yeah, that's what I was just
don't lie like the execs do. Coaches just real talk coming out their mouth. They just say what they mean. So he's like, listen to the coach, throw what the executives say out the window.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think you can't really listen to most people at this point during the year. So thanks for watching, guys, and listening to us.
We're excited if you can't tell.
I'm so fucking hyped for the draft. I love the draft. I'm upset I haven't been able to get into it as much as last year because of other timings and other things going on in life and stuff. And it's so upsetting that I don't have as in-depth a big board here on my phone. But I'm very excited to see who falls into the second round now.
I will say I probably didn't even get as deep this year as usual because we have a lot of stuff going on in real life, plus Yankee and the Brit stuff. But I do watch a lot, and I think my wife probably knows more. And she don't even watch sports. She probably knows who to draft more than some of the fucking general managers right now.
Yeah, more.
All right, Maddie. We ran through that pretty quick. I had a good time doing it. It's pretty sad that this is the last one till next year, but I am excited for the draft. And we'll get to go through and tell you who we think nailed it and who we think fucked up too. And that's always fun.
That's actually where we come in and do like some actually good work. Like all of this is guesswork. The punditry stuff on the other side is where we're all. That's why you should listen to us after this.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the draft. And to quote Animal Kingdom, I hope you get what you want, but never what you deserve. Deuces.
Cheerio.